Says Gemara Baba Basra Daf Samoch Aleph Baruch Hashem. We begin another parak, the fourth parak of Baba Basra, and we begin with the Mishnah Hamoicher Es Habayis, and those three words are going to be the starting ideas of this parak, dealing with a mechira, a sale of a house. And as the first Rashbam points out so critically, that the details here are that it was stam, that the sale was done without specifying what precisely is included in the sale. So says the Mishnah, Lo yimachar yitziyah. The yitziyah, which Rashi tells us the Gemaras are going to explain, but it's more of an annex, more of a addition to a house. And says the Mishnah, even if it opens into the house, that is not part of the sale. And not for, and also a storeroom interiorly is not sold. Nor is the roof. When there is a makkah that is 10 tfachim high. Rav Yehuda comes along and he teaches, Rav Yehuda Eimer, Mishlei Tzuras HaPesach, if the roof has a Tzuras HaPesach, has a doorway, Afal Pi, She'enoi Gavoya Yud Tfachim, Einoi Machor, the roof is not sold with the house. So we're beginning with trying to figure out the different parts of the house, the roof, the storerooms, the annex, in what level they are stam, considered included with the sale, and when they are not. Says the Gemara, Ma Yitzia. What is a Yitzia? So Hacha Targima over here, in Bavel they explained, what is it? Afta. It's an attached chamber. Rav Yosef Amar, Bidka Chalila. Bidka Chalila. Now what's a Bidka Chalila? It's a type of room that lots of windows. That's the critical nikuda over here. If you look at Rashi, Rashi says Asuya Chaloinais Chaloinais. Says the Gemara, Leman Damar Afta, the according to the Man Damar that says it's just a form of small room that is attached to the side of a house. Certainly this windowed area room was not attached. After is yes, mizdavna, but a yes, an after would be sold. And Rashbam points out why. Shusasim kebayis dami tashmisha letashmish tabayis tfei umizdavna bechlal. According to the second man, the Amar, this windowed area that has a function unto itself. But this after, this storage room on the side, that would yes be sold with the house. Says the Gemara, Tani Rav Yosef, Sholish Shemosh Ishli Yitzia. There are three potential names for Yitzia: a Sela, a Ta, and a Yitzia. Yitzia Dersev, as we find in the pasuk, Yitzia Tachtoina. The lower Yitzia was Chamesh Amos Rachba. Sel Dersev Atzloi Selal Sela Sholish Ushleish Sholish Ushleishim Pamim 33 times. Ta Dersev Atakana Echad Eirech Echad V'Kana Echad Rachav V'Binatayim Chamesh Amos. So we see little rooms, little storage rooms could have these three names potentially: a Sela, a Ta, and a Yitzia. Says the Gemara, another source for the word Ta, Viba Yisema Mehacha, Kaisala Echal Sheish, Vata Sheish, Kaisalata Chamesh. So says the Gemara, three different words for a Yitzia, for this attached storage area type of room, and the sources. Amar Marzucha, says Marzucha, that when do we say that this Yitzia is not included in a sale? Says Rav Marzucha, it has to be at least 4 amos. If it's not, then it would, yes, automatically be considered part of the sale as then it would just be considered, it's a little storage area. With regard to a pit, it's nan. That we're going to learn that the bar and the dos, the pit and the cistern are not included in a sale when the house is sold stam. Even though he wrote that he's selling the house, including the oimek, the depth, and the raima, the height. So hachanami, are you here? Marzucha can as well suggest. Are you going to tell me the same thing? Of course not. Because, well, what's the reason? So it's more of a kasha misvara, because the Gemara is assuming that 4 amos is quite large for your average size pit. So to say that it's only not included once it's 4 amos, the Gemara finds shver, as it says simply, it's not included. Explains the Gemara, Hachi Ashta, 5 lines to the bottom. Hasam hatash mishta lachad, v'hatash mishta lachad. Regarding a bar, regarding a bayis, each one's functionality is different. And therefore, whether it's a large pit, whether it's a small pit, it's not part of the house and it is not included in the sale. Whereas Hach over here, when we're talking about this Yitzia, we're talking about the storage room, they have a very similar function to the house, and therefore, and therefore, if it's Dalit Amois, only then is it considered chashivas onto itself and not included in the sale. But if not, it would yes be included in the sale. So a simple difference between an area which is a similar functionality to the house at large, then it will only be excluded, says Mar Zucha, if it's a davar chashiv, if it's Dalit Amois. But other areas like a pit and whatnot will automatically be excluded as it has a different function from the house. We continue quoting the next part of the Mishnah, which said that what else is not included in the sale of a house? Says the Gemara, if even a yitzia, a mere annex, the storage room like we're talking about is not included, a proper cheder, a proper storage room that's built behind the house, do you need to tell me it's not included? It's pashut that it's not included. If even the annexed area is not included, certainly this larger storeroom would not be included. Explains the Gemara as we turn over to Samachal from Ebeis, Mitri Avroi. Even where he wrote and he defined the boundaries of the sale outside the areas of the storeroom, so therefore you would think that maybe it does include it. Says the Mishnah, no. Now the Gemara proves this by saying the Rav Nachman. We find a similar premise to the words of Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman, Rav Avua. Someone sells a house in a large apartment building. We just say that he's just writing the boundaries as a convenience to square off the area, but it's not necessarily the precise boundaries of the sale. And therefore the Gemara wants to suggest the same thing by us, that even though you wrote the boundaries that would be behind and that would include the cheder, but he's just being, again, gauging in rough numbers. Says the Gemara, Pshit, says the Gemara, what's your raya from Rav Nachman? There are different things. There's an apartment and there's the larger house. So if they have different names, then of course that's what he wanted to sell. No, must be that they're called the same thing. Say Kula Zavan, I understand. So then he wrote and he defined that he's selling him the whole thing. Says Gemara, Leitzricha, Deruba Karle Labayis, Bayis Labira Bira. Vikanami Delbir Karle Bayis. There are some that say the same word. So Mao the Tema Kule Zavan. Kamashal and the Chiddush is that not everything is sold. V'loy shi'arta b'zvina. Because he should have written that I'm not leaving anything over in this sale. And he did not write that. So over there we learn that Shir Shaira, that Lamaisa, he is indeed leaving something over. And that's the reason why in the case of Rav Nachman, you would only acquire the smaller apartment and not the larger bira. Continues the Gemara with another statement from Rav Nachman Amarav Ravua, very similar. Just now we're talking about a field. And again, he only selling that field, that one particular field, not the entire beka. Says the Gemara, the exact same kasha. Because you don't call it that. If that's true, they call it zavinle. Answers Gemara the same terror. So then no. He should have written, I'm leaving nothing over the sale. He did not. And after saying the exact same case twice, says the Gemara, who's Srichan, we needed to list both of these dinim of Rabba and Rav Nachman. Excuse me, Rav Nachman and Rav Ravua. Why? Diashvin and Bai is the first case. I would have thought Misham the Hatashvish L'chod. I would have thought that there are two different functions. There's a function of an apartment, then there's a function of the larger building. Avol Beka, when it comes to a field and a larger valley, that what is the valley? Just many fields. It's the exact same thing. In the case of the Beka, he did not actually have proper boundaries. Avol Bayis, which is very delineated, therefore, we needed both cases of Rav Nachman and Rav Avua. So we find that we conclude for today, says the Gemara, come on, Ozla Hada Amar Amari Breida Bashmuel, Parashilus Mishreida Abaya. Hi man, De Mizvan Le Midila Chavre. We're 10 lines at the bottom. First word in line is Le. Someone who sells something to his friend, Sarach Lamichtav Le, Lo Shartu Zina Lini Kadin Klum. I'm not holding anything back. I'm selling you the whole thing. Kiman, Kiran Nachman Amar Ravua, which was the previous discussion. We'll stop over here. We'll pick it up from the next story in the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.